3, 2, 1.
What I got.
All right.
But yeah, that's Butthole Surfers, who did the song Mountain, a lot of Pepper, but it's Who Was in My Room Last Night, and that's what I learned in 20 minutes of practice.
There you go, Trevor.
So if I get more time, I'll probably have the whole song down.
You know it, man. Welcome to the podcast, folks. It's Two Lonely Boys in a Canoe. I'm Chris Evans, also known as Gorgeous George. Over there is my cohort, Trevor Ahlstrom, a.k.a. Gravel Pits.
Or shits.
Gravel Shit Pits. You got it, man. And with us right now is the man, the myth, the legend, motherfucking Gradient. What's up,
sir.
bro?
You know, just
The
panning
producer.
over to Chris while he's coughing for no
of
reason.
course. Well, it was funny because I had to take 2 bong rips. We didn't have audio rolling immediately, so the second one kind of got me. But it was nice.
You just put me on Baja Blast
Hey,
right now,
man.
baby.
Hey, it's the best flavor of Mountain Dew.
Fuck that. Capri Suns all day. Let's go.
Okay, I like
Snakes
that.
get fought.
Snakes get fought. Snakes get fought.
This melon one's
little,
pretty
little
solid.
promotion. So how you guys been, man? How you doing, Trevor?
I'm good, dude. He was
Yeah?
taking a hit, so I'm come first in that. I'm good.
Hell yeah, Gradient. We're getting it all done here. We're getting the rips.
It's good, man.
We're getting going.
I'm proud.
Proud to be an American.
Not so much anymore.
Yeah,
But
it's the feeling around the country.
yeah, I'm glad the song turned out okay.
I always
Good.
love that you learn, usually, if you're not playing something that you've already played or something that you like to play, you learn something within like 25 minutes.
I'm a pretty quick learner. Like,
Yeah.
I've played in bands. Like if I practice something real quick, and a lot of it's blues riffs, and I've played with blues bands, so it's like okay, I can pick it up. So if I practice it, solidly, I can pick it up pretty quick. And
I'm just imagining the first time you ever ate pussy. Some girl's like, "You ever ate pussy?" He's like, "Nope, but I'm a quick learner." Yeah, you just take her back, man. Let's go.
I did end up humming the alphabet and the national anthem one time.
That's an interesting one.
I was told to try it, and I did, and the chick liked it. So
Well, that's an interesting one. Do you remember your first time eating pussy?
I do, regrettably.
I was in the forest at the time, and I was there drunk. But yeah, I was in the woods of a chick.
Do you remember her name?
Zoe.
Zoe. Shout out to Zoe. How you doing?
Acrobat. She's probably a doctor by now.
Okay.
And
Dr. Zoe.
And I apparently didn't. I don't know. I wasn't stable enough, I guess. I was a young rowdy man, and yeah, it didn't work out. How about you, Gradient?
So you didn't give Zoe an OE?
That was a good one. That
was good. I also knew her when I did fire too, but I was going to the woods a lot for long periods, doing fires, doing trails. So
Okay.
I wasn't around, and she was with a stable guy. The problem was he was twice her age, and he had been to Iraq and Afghanistan. He was 40, and she was 20, and he was just a crazy motherfucker, and just yeah, I don't know, it didn't work out. She ended up going with him, and she was probably, I imagine.
Damn, Trevor,
With
I
some
didn't mean to
crazy guy in a
take you. I didn't
trailer.
mean to take
Yeah.
you down this deep dark path. I thought this was going to be a fun story of eating pussy.
No.
Trevor's like, things got crazy. Last time I saw her, she was pointing a shotgun at my dick.
I'm sure if this guy had had a chance to shoot me in the back of a trailer park by the edge of the redwoods, he probably would have. But
Hey, Trevor, it's okay. Yeah. You made it out. You ate pussy and you lived. That's all you ever have to do when you're eating pussy.
What about you?
Gradient's got a
on.
story.
Well, I mean, the beginnings are not so exciting. I mean, as my high school sweetheart, she kind of was laughing. She didn't get much out of it.
Sure.
But I'd watched plenty of pornographic materials at that point. I felt like I was doing it, but
yeah.
Nowadays I feel very confident about my ability. You know what I'm saying? I get the feedback I get is that the O's are coming.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I like the J-Rock confidence you're bringing to this.
Yeah.
Know what I'm saying?
Well, I
So
think
he's got the confidence of J-Rock and all of Rockpile, and I approve.
Good.
what I was trying to say was, Trevor's like, hold on a second, I'm here. What I was trying to say is, like, the first time you eat pussy, you're probably terrible at it. You know what I mean?
You
Like
kinda have
you
to
probably don't know anything about where you're going or what you're doing.
It's like the first time
but
a chick gets
it's
a
like
blowjob.
anything.
Yeah,
You
it's
do
like
it
anything the
enough.
first time.
You do it enough. And you got to find that girl that's usually... There's one girl that's usually like, all right, I'll show you what's up. You know? I
Right.
definitely had... the first girl that I ever ate her pussy, I wasn't that great at it, but I had her, like, sit there and try with me. She was like, keep going for it, man. And I was like, all right. And eventually it got better, but I think that's how you have to have a girl training you. You have to have a girl take pity on your bad sexual prowess and be like, I'll show you the ways of love, young man. And you'll be like, thanks, miss.
Even so, when I think I'm doing it right now, though, I was told I pulled away right when I should have stayed in.
Yeah, that's
Because
always the thing.
sometimes they want you to pull away because it's like in the middle of it, it's super sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
But literally, I think I just was like, got her right there, and then I stopped.
Yep.
And then she was
My
like,
goddamn jaw hurts.
it's too bad. Because I've been there with the bad fap, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, my arm's just so tired, and
Sexual frustration is real, folks. That's why you just got to find somebody that you enjoy being around and they enjoy spending that passionate time with you. Shout out to 1-800-HOOKERS. No.
Also,
shout out to that many 1,800 hookers.
Well,
Jesus
yeah,
Christ.
1-800 is the call number, but, yeah,
that was good. That was good.
I got a life. No.
Or you could become a Catholic priest and just touch little boys around the world. I mean, you could do that too.
I don't want to.
Exactly. Moving on. So, I guess
Anyway.
intros, any shout out plugs anyone wants to do real quick?
Shout out to everybody checking out the episodes right now. We're getting some downloads on Podbean. We're getting checked out on Spotify a little bit.
Radio.
I've been keeping up kind of like views on the different downloads and stuff. And I think on one video we had almost 300 downloads.
You know, one thing that can be good,
Which
it
one
depends
is-
on how corny you want to be. But yeah, we got some audio listens with
Stay
a
on
lot.
traffic. That was the one.
Yeah, we got 65 views on YouTube. I was like, holy shit.
So it's
Well,
very,
if you say from right up top, hey,
Yeah.
if you like this, like and subscribe, leave a comment. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
just something.
Because now we're already fucking 8 minutes in. No one's gonna.
Yeah, exactly.
The people that
No
are
one's
already
diving
hanging are
this
just
deep.
like they've already got a blunt in their hand and
Yeah.
their dick in their other. So
well, that's what I mean.
or
I
a
hope
box
that
of Cheez-Its. Who knows?
Well, I hope that the
They don't
people
have any
out there
thumbs left.
listening. I hope the people out there listening are chilling the fuck out, having a good time, enjoying our fucking
Me as
banter,
well.
our friendship, and
Whether
the production of Gradient.
whether it's a mansion, a bum camp, or anything in between,
We be
hope
getting
that
down.
we hope that you're
Yeah.
doing well and hanging out.
Come have a blunt with the boys. Yeah.
Spotify added ranking. Apple Podcasts had it. But Spotify added it. The funny thing is, people might not know how powerful they are right now. If you just go to a show and try to rank it,
Sure.
they won't let you. They're like, you haven't listened to the show yet.
Okay.
So once you listen for like 8-9 minutes or something, you
get
can
a-
rank.
okay.
So anybody listening
Oh,
up
that's
to
why you
now,
made the
Yeah.
use your fucking power, man.
Yeah, go
You know
ahead
what
and
I'm
give
saying?
us a like and fucking let us know how we're doing. I have seen some fun comments, some people being negative and shit. And I think that's just the fun part of the internet, for the people that
Yeah.
will be checking us out and saying, hey, maybe this is something I might
One
like.
of the funniest I
There's
saw.
going to be some assholes that are just like, shut up, you guys suck.
always,
Some haters.
always
Chris can't play the guitar.
Yeah, I'm like, I
That's
can't
not
play the
Chris.
guitar.
If anyone wants to have a guitar duel or a jam session,
Dueling banjos.
we can definitely meet up. Gradient's also a really good guitar player
Yeah.
too. So if you also want
Don't
to challenge,
let me have to get my boy Gradient and
Yeah.
Trevor on you with some
Yeah,
guitars,
and Graydon
motherfucker.
will also he'll just make it rain sweet rhymes.
Yeah.
And then Chris will play harmonica.
I'll bust out the Monica.
And then we'll have a Ninja Kitty come out from behind and scratch the shit out of you. So it
you
might
never
not work
know.
out.
You never know.
Real quick, Kitty, by the way, she's been a bit of a monster. But yeah.
So we love our cat. She's dope as fuck, but she has been doing
Ferrari.
what cats do, and they
Yes.
fucking chew wires. And as you folks can hopefully see, we're doing some rearranging and trying to
moving up.
get new setups and stuff.
We have a TV working now.
Having our wires chewed right now isn't ideal, obviously, but
Yeah.
we will conquer and overcome, man. Fuck that cat.
I came home from work with the kitty locked in my room. I was like, what happened? And then I found out, shit happens. But anyways, local news.
Oh shit! I was about to have something.
If not, I can go first. It's good.
Well, Ramblin' Jack Elliott is going to come to the Wow Hall. If you look that up, it's the kind of guy you might not know him, but everything online says he's a legend.
I like hearing his name though. That's a pretty cool name, Ramblin' Jack.
He sounds like a guy I would hear in front of like a sandwich shop, just like hanging out, playing a Martin guitar, playing some John Prine. Am I right? Because I've seen a lot of these guys around town. I see a lot of them.
I think he was connected with Woody Guthrie back in the day, before Guthrie died and shit.
Because Guthrie was big in the 30s and 40s and 50s, but yeah, so this guy would have to be old if he knew Woody Guthrie. Because Guthrie was like in his prime in the Depression.
Yeah,
So
this guy's at least in his 80s.
He would have to be. He would have to be.
Yeah. I don't fucking know. The point is, we got cool shit going on. Dizzy Wright and Jaron Benton are coming back to Wow Hall, but I think I mentioned that last time.
You did. Dizzy Wright. Yeah.
I'm going to
he's
mention
fire.
something again too, but yeah, go ahead and mention it. Yeah.
That's about it. You
I
know
know they're the rap artists coming to town.
Who? What other rap
Dizzy
artists?
and
Dizzy Wright and Jaron Benton. Yeah, baby.
the rap artists. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Rippity
For
rap.
everyone else that isn't quite as cool,
What do you mean?
I don't know.
It's okay.
It's all right. So, as he mentioned something again, I'm going to do it real quick. UADA, UAADA, they're big. They're actually a huge black metal band that's open for a lot of larger metal band acts, like certain bands like Behemoth, and like pretty soon they're probably open for a Slipknot. But they're from the Northwest, they're from Washington, and for only $20 they're playing, which is a pretty
Trevor's
good
like,
deal.
that's a hell of a deal.
I am fucking excited. I'm going to get the ticket tonight right after the show, actually, and I have two buddies I'm meeting there. Or we're meeting to
You're
go down
ready,
there.
man.
But
You're
I'm
ready.
fucking excited.
You're pumped.
It's going to be just crushing black metal, and then some good local bands are going to play, and it's going to be at the John Henry's, which is downtown.
All right.
So you guys should check it out. It'll be this Friday, and the show will be from 9 to midnight.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, I'm
So
excited.
tomorrow, so probably today. If they
So
see this coming out, it's probably today.
Yeah, so when Chris sees me
This Friday, the 10th.
Chris probably sees me Saturday, I'm gonna look a little haggard, but it
Just
sucks.
take it easy, man. Don't hurt yourself.
Yeah, but then I also want to go do taxes Saturday, and then go to a Valentine's party right after that. So this weekend's and then Sunday we're doing the show, so this weekend's gonna be busy as fuck.
Trevor's ready, man. He's got some
Fuck.
activities planned. That's what's up. I got some Portland news.
Let's go.
For the first time in the last 3 years or so, the population in Portland's actually gone down. So it's kind of I think the sign of the times that people are really getting tired of living in the particular area of Portland. The metro area of Portland has gotten very crazy over the last few years. I think that Portland as a city has a lot of cool people in it and a lot of interesting individuals, but the homelessness and the crazy people that are constantly just making your life tougher in the city, it doesn't make for a good place to live. You know, I bet larger cities like Austin and Seattle and stuff like that are going through the same issues. But man, Oregon really has a unique homeless issue, and it hurts because I don't think there's just one right way to fix it. You know, Portland was a place I thought about moving to when I thought about moving to Oregon, but I guess I'm glad I didn't because there are some pretty crazy things in Portland, unfortunately.
If you could buy a house in Portland, you'd probably still, the value's probably still going to go up.
Probably.
You know?
I know it's one
Probably.
of the fastest growing cities in the country. I've heard Portland. It's literally one. Yeah.
Yeah, it has been for sure. I mean, I don't know what
You-
his stat.
Eugene is fast growing,
think
but-
that Portland's gotten a bad reputation for being a little bit too
No,
hard
no,
and
no, no.
liberal. You know, I think that being
It was
liberal,
all over Fox News.
I think that being liberal is a very cool thing for a lot of people, but I think when you go and you're trying to shove your ideals,
They're trying to
down
make it like
anybody's
San
throat-
Francisco, it reminds me.
little
They're trying to
bit.
literally, because I mean, I grew up not far from San Francisco, a good portion of my life, and it seems like Portland is trying to imitate the San Francisco sort of thing. And you had shows like Portlandia, which definitely hyped up the Portland thing.
Portlandia was a funny show.
Yeah, it was a very funny show. Put a bird on it, like Danzig's wearing all bright, like bro clothes, like a funny show. But that definitely
Shout out
helped.
to Fred Armisen.
Yeah, but that definitely helped bring Portland into the. A lot of people around the country now know of Portland, and when they think Portland, they think like rain and coffee shops and weird hipsters.
Well, they
and like,
probably
that's what
think
they
of
protests
and
and
they probably
protests
think of
too, and they think of Antifa and
and-
Proud Boys fighting, and someone's drinking an overpriced coffee while they're doing it. Someone else is drinking probably an IPA, and someone's probably eating donuts, and someone's eating probably some hot soup.
But what
because
if
it's
you're
probably
just
raining.
what if you're just the average Joe that lives in Portland and you're like, I have to live around this shit constantly.
like one of us is regular? Yeah.
Oh,
I think
working
of
person,
somebody
you know?
with Z-Zim pronouns fucking smashing a bottle of kombucha and being like, hey,
Yeah,
you want to
dude,
talk shit about trans people?
Oh
Hey.
man,
You know?
it's Monday morning. What's going on?
I'm
You
waiting.
know?
I'm waiting for fucking Andrew Callahan from Channel 5 News
Channel
to show
5.
up. Like he's the sort of guy that would show up to
He's
like.
been to
and-
Portland.
Yeah, I figured
He's
he
been
has. Just talking.
He's been to Seattle. He was around when Chaz was a thing.
When he was in Eugene for the show at Wow Hall, everybody was really trying to get him to do country fair.
Okay,
And he's interested.
yeah,
That
would
would
be interesting.
I've been to a country fair. He has too, and yeah, that would be a crazy thing for him to see because there's children, but then they're just random hippie bitches with titties out, and like
Yeah,
there's just like you're walking around, and then there's just like a person dressed like a Grateful Dead concert just hanging out on a horse, and someone with chainmail just right next to him. Like,
I feel
what?
like he specializes in people who go buck wild, though. At country fair, you don't really get like, whoa, yeah,
The pirate-
you know?
no,
The pirate
It's-
festival I went to in Lebanon, Oregon, though, when I first moved here, I had a buddy that was like, he like knew some people apparently in the pirate thing. He's like, yeah, man, and he was a guy I used to do punk and metal like band practices and hang out with. He would just hang out with me. This Mexican dude named Alex, who's awesome, but his family was into the whole pirate thing. So it reminded me when I saw the Workaholics episode about they went to the Gathering Juggalos, it reminded me like these people, even though they're dressed all crazy, they're just regular people with families. They're like, yeah, this is something we like to do. And they like showed me, and it was cool. We had a bunch of people dressed as pirates hanging out doing things, and I just brought my little guitar, and I just didn't have a lot of money, so I just literally went around and paid for most of my booze and hang out by just playing guitar like a minstrel. They literally were like, hey, if you play for us, you can have this horn of mead. And I would literally just like play a song. They gave me a fucking horn of mead, and I would drink it and roll around. It was pretty cool on the weekend. It was a fucking awesome weekend, man.
Okay.
And you just see me. Yeah, it was pretty cool. I got to be just literally a minstrel for a weekend. It was fun as fuck.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. There was one time a naked woman's wrestling match, and they had me play with the guy playing the mandolin and the guy playing a hurdy-gurdy, which is the crank-up guitar that in Game of Thrones does the whole song. But I got to play the guy doing the hurdy-gurdy, and all these random hippie bitches were just hitting on the guy with the hurdy-gurdy, like, oh, show us how to play it, da, da, da. Like he was the coolest guy, and he was dressed like a jester. Interesting weekend.
Hippie girls can
Okay.
be pretty cool. It's a very mixed bag.
Very
I
mixed.
think
Yes.
hippie girls are into drugs, and that's
Yeah.
that's the fun part about them, and that's also the downside to hippie
Yep.
girls. They like the drugs, so you might have some fun with them, but if there's a guy with more drugs, she'll wander away.
Great
It's funny.
time.
Yeah, 19.
Okay. All right. So I'd like to move on to some national news. On the request of Chris, couple days ago, 2 days ago, I saw the State of the Union that President Biden just gave, and it was an hour and 15 minutes, and he covered a lot of topics in that time, and like I can tell, even though he's an old man, I can tell he had practice because he covered almost every major topic you can think about hearing on the news recently. He talked about.
Yeah, and he actually, I read an article about him taking weeks to practice and because of his stutter and everything.
Yeah. They usually go off of a teleprompter, which is smart because it is a long, kind of winded speech with a lot of topics. But the presidential State of the Union is usually just to let the American people know how the country's doing, how things are going in Congress, how the parties are doing. I feel like it's personally become more of a like a staged thing, They are well.
It's very theater.
It's very theater.
It's politics, man. It's
Well,
theater.
therein lies
Marjorie
the
Taylor
issue.
Greene wore like a Cruella DeVille
Dude,
fucking.
Yes,
she looked like
I actually noticed
she looked
her.
like a professional boxer's wife at a prize fight.
Yes.
You know, she had like the mink coat on and stuff. I was
Yeah,
like, what
yeah.
are you doing?
I could see Cruella DeVille at like a high stakes
Well,
boxing
she's
ring.
supposed she's supposed to be a politician. You know
Yes,
what I mean?
no,
She's supposed to be a civil servant. And she's sitting here like fucking, you know, she's a real housewife or some shit.
She loves every minute of it.
Oh, dude, she
crazy.
loves the attention. A white girl loving some attention, man? Hell yeah.
She just needs a rough night at a truck stop somewhere in rural Oregon. I don't know. Those are my thoughts. But she needs to be knocked down a few pegs. Is all
Well,
I'm
I just
saying.
think we need to be able to get people out of office faster that obviously aren't fit for the job. There are a lot of people that think that she should probably not be in Congress, and you know, the Republican Party's kind of just got her because she's like a poster child right now.
Yeah.
Her and the Speaker of the House and a few other, Gavin Newsom.
She's in the right place at the right time. She fits the demographic they're looking for.
And that's pretty much what it is. You have to have people on your team, and she's a weird fucking chick to have on their team. But the whole State of the Union is President Biden supposed to be letting the American people know what's going on. But again, it just felt so staged, and watching all the politicians sit there and clap and stand up and sit back down for hours on end, it just
It literally looked
it didn't
like,
feel good.
It reminded me when I had to go to a Catholic mass for it was like a second cousin, but like for my grandma, and like it was weird. We just had to stand and sit.
Well, it's the kneeling and
And
sitting
then we had to
and
kneel.
praying.
We had to do a lot of kneeling
Yeah,
too.
that's Catholic Church.
And yeah, it's just a workout, and then they're just burning. I was waiting for some guy to walk down ails and start burning incense with the way they
Sometimes
kept going up
they
and
have
down.
sage.
But I'm saying for the State of the Union, I was almost waiting for some guy in an outfit car in like a priest outfit just walk down burning sage.
Well, I feel
Or
even
like Catholic mass.
Well, I feel like even in
goddamn.
today's ability to communicate, like the mass amount of information that's available to the public, you know, a lot of people are informed and a lot of people are misinformed. But I don't think that they're telling the truth when they do the State of the Union. I think they're telling the people what they want them to hear. You know what I mean?
One
Because
thing.
it's- Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, one thing that was different was that the Social Security and Medicare bit. So when
Yeah.
it came to
Yes.
lifting the debt
the
ceiling,
sunset thing.
yeah,
he mentioned sunset.
he mentioned
several
how
times.
it's been introduced, how they want to sunset it to
All the
to pay
old
the
people booed left and right. Like that was probably the most unanimous boo because a majority of the people there are probably 60 and older. Like a huge majority of them.
right.
They're in their
So-
late
The Republicans
40s.
didn't want to. They were like, "How dare you say we're looking into this?" And he was literally like, "I know it's not all of you, but like
It has
then
been brought
There was
up.
such an overwhelming amount of them being like, of them opposing it. So now he was able to be like, well, I guess that's off the table then when we're talking
Yeah.
about this negotiation.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
actually kind of possibly changed the tenor of the leverage there, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't going to get cut anyway, but for them to use it as a bargaining chip,
He
they can
defi-
get more concessions.
He definitely did a good job of writing all the boos to pretty much saying something like, "All right, then this is a null and void issue now." Like I could tell he did practice it. Like, all right, and then he did make some good. He made a couple of jokes in there, like when people were trying to oppose what he said. He's like, "Well, as my senior coach said, lots of luck your senior year," and just like weird old people
Yeah.
jokes.
Yeah.
Oh,
At the
and
beginning,
shit.
it's
I
some
noticed.
self-deprecating
I literally
jokes.
replayed it because it threw me off. I was like, "That's some shit like my grandpa would say." Just some of the weird old people humor.
So-
like my boss at work says sometimes will say something. We're like, "What?"
So President Biden was elected because there was not another option, really.
Yes.
Trump would have been way worse off. He would have
Oh,
done
yeah.
the country.
He was
even
the lesser of
further.
two evils. 100%.
So we gave Grandpa the reins, and we were like, all right, do what you can, try to fix this, and get us back on track. So for right now, Joe he's a spot filler.
Yeah.
He's this person that I don't think should run for re-election, but he probably will. And I don't think it'll take away from the Democratic vote as much, but it's having any tension between candidates in the same party. That's a weird one. The
Yeah.
Republicans are going to do whatever they can to try to get the presidency back, but I don't know.
And I did notice that and I was pointed out to me too that the Supreme Courts that were appointed by Trump, like Kavanaugh for them, they weren't there. They just weren't there at all. And then all the generals, they sat down when everyone else had to stand and sit. The generals
Well,
just
they're
sat.
military.
They're military.
It's a
so they're
different set of circumstances. I got a national news segment. There was a train derailment in Ohio here recently. A few people died. It was just a really crazy thing because the trains that crashed were at a large station, a switch station. So there was a lot of cars, and the stuff they were carrying was like a plastic material that's very toxic. So they had to build like a super trench alongside the train tracks to kind of let the liquid out of the tankers. And then like a few yards away, they were burning all the liquid plastic material. And so the governor of the state basically declared an emergency around the area specifically because there's going to be plumes of toxic smoke fucking coming up out of the air. So there's like a red zone and a yellow zone where they shouldn't be. Yeah, here it is. Freight train derailment in Ohio puts the U.S. infrastructure back in a bruising spotlight.
Damn, it was the
Yeah.
day before the State of the Union.
Yes.
Carrying hazardous chemicals on the eastern edge of Ohio. Evacuation zone across both Ohio and Pennsylvania.
Yep.
I always wonder, there's that Neil Young song, Ohio. Anytime 4 people die, do people go, 4 dead in Ohio?
Oh, shit. I don't know.
That was
maybe.
about the Kent State. I know the song. It was about the Kent State shooting.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
But that was a pretty nutty story.
There's
Just
also
because
the Pretenders had the song, the Ohio song too.
I was like, I wonder how many trains a year that happens to, man. That's got to happen to quite a few, and we just don't. It's such a fast news cycle.
It's
You know,
so
it gets replaced
serendipitous
by
you guys
something
mention
else.
that. I'm just excited to get to use the word serendipitous.
Okay.
I'm
But,
excited to put articles up on the screen if I feel like it.
Grading?
Boom.
Killing it, bud. Yeah, this is the first time we've had a TV that we can do it because Grading helped us out. And Chris is checking dinner. Pork.
Yes, sir.
Pretty good.
Big pork. But
And
we also have
Gra-
some
and
YouTube
Gra-
videos.
Yeah, and Grading brought some breakfast
Breakfast
burritos.
burritos I made.
But
Oh, shit.
you're good.
Yeah, dude. Was there any other news?
I did want to quickly mention, I guess give a review on the open mic I did Monday.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I went to the First National Tap House Brewery downtown on Broadway and like 8th, and I went and played a show after work, and I played 3 songs, and I actually got to go second instead of having to wait 2 hours, and I made a bad joke real quick. Was like, well, I know it's almost Valentine's Day, but I'll play you no love songs because I have no feelings, and then I just started right away. But I played a song.
Nice.
I played a song and they
Get some chuckles?
yeah, I played some song in an open C tuning, and
shanty.
and it was a song about being humble shit called Seaside Shenanigans, and then I played another punk song called Hell, Fancy Chinese Businessman, and then I played a Deftones cover. I played Ohms. So that
What's
was cool.
up, Holmes?
And then it was good. Got off and hung out and had a great
got
night.
off, Trevor?
Got off.
I
man.
got
Got
off,
off,
man.
You got off. You had a great
Skip
night.
past the most important part.
That was the funniest
So
part.
the one tip, since we're talking about getting off, I'll talk about
Talk
a tip real
about tips
quick.
and getting off, baby. That's all the waitresses want to know about, tips and getting off.
Every girl's crazy about a sharp dress, man.
But
anyways, if you're doing, I'm sure gradient plays too. I'm sure you can attest to this. But if you're going to play a weird tuning, have that already in tune ahead of time before you play, like right before you go up. Make sure it's in that tuning. And then once you're done with the song and you're playing stuff in the standard tuning,
I love this dude.
Have you seen
You
this?
I
can,
love this
you have
dude.
seen
you can
this.
go ahead and raise
Sharp
it up.
Crest, man.
This dude is amazing.
Oh, yeah, I've got the... Oh, there we go. Yeah, he's playing Sharp Crest, man.
This dude goes so hard.
I love how the drummer's doing some Chris Farley shit.
So he's at like a local event for seniors or something. Like they're supposed to be playing a chill show, and this dude in the back that's drumming is fucking crushing. I love him.
And he's flipping drumsticks like
sharp dressed man. and even you can tell like the lead guitarist.
How is he hitting everything perfectly still?
Well, it's like the lead guitarist. He looks back at him at a point, and he's like, "What the fuck, man?"
Well, the other guys are really corny. At one point, they do like a little synchronized, like little, yeah, they like, they just
I'm
do like a
telling you,
little.
they're playing for like a senior citizen show. They're doing like live music, but he is just up there
so
killing.
funny, dude.
I love this guy. Does he have that solo? He has a solo at a part, right?
Does he? I don't know.
think so.
I've never
Oh,
seen
and
it.
the weird part he does with the.
He's like doing motions.
I love this guy. This guy's awesome.
He's amazing.
I want him in my band. If I was like, I need an exciting drummer like this guy. It's like Chris Farley with crazy drummer skills.
It's Chris Farley with Gary Busey energy.
And Neil Peart drumming skills. So you're good to go.
That was awesome.
And we also have gay cigarettes. We got a bunch of videos we can
But
get
may
to.
I
Yeah,
finish
definitely.
my point though?
All right.
What was the point?
So the point is, you're gonna play a weird.
What was the
Both you
point?
guys. Fuck both you guys.
That was the point. Gradient got the point.
You just team me up on me.
He took your point, Trevor. He
No,
took
you
your
both team
point.
me up on me.
-3 points, Trevor.
Snakes get fought.
Snakes get fought. Snakes get fought. I like that.
Anyway,
All
let me finish my point with a fucking movie review. Big dick energy here, folks. Anyways, so if you're playing a song in a weird tuning, play that first, and then you can go back to a tuning you're used to, because it's quicker and easier to go up to a tuning that you're used to versus playing some songs and then people have to wait 5 minutes because you're dropping down to some weird tuning.
Dropping the tunes.
But if you're, it's great to attest to. If you're playing something you're standard, which is usually what most people are used to, you're gonna do it quicker because you're used to it. So just tune it back up. That's something I did. And it
Was
worked
that your
just fine.
point? Nice.
Yeah.
All
That was
right.
my point. It was my guitar. It was Trevor's Tune Talk tip.
Tune talk tip. I like
there you
it.
go.
All right, we got a little bit of world news as well. There was a giant earthquake in Syria and Turkey. It hit along the border. It was a 7.5 earthquake. They've had over 200 aftershocks, multiple earthquakes basically afterwards. There's been over 20,000 people confirmed dead at this point. There's probably going to be some more in the next few days. But it just sucks. Natural disasters are a fucking thing, man, and you can do almost nothing about them. An earthquake is just, you get maybe like 20 minutes of warning. It's similar with a tornado. Maybe a tornado, you get an hour of warning.
Fires too. You get brief warnings that happen so fast.
The nice thing about hurricanes is that you do have like people that can track weather patterns. So you can know days in advance of a hurricane's
and it's
hit.
usually off the coast.
Yeah. But the whole issue there is that, when a natural disaster happens, nobody knows how to respond. I mean, they do to a degree, but there's so many different needs. It's hard to help everybody at once. There's people dead. There's people the bodies are piling up.
Yeah.
They're literally stuffing bodies wherever they can in the trunks of cars to take them to a fucking giant hole, a giant makeshift grave. So shout out to the people of Turkey and Syria that are going through it right now, man.
That sucks.
It's really tough out there. It's tough in the world, and we got to stick together, man.
There's also still giant refugee camps out there from people fleeing the Middle East. So I'm wondering what the situation like the refugee camps are too.
So where
because-
the earthquake ended up hitting was a very metro area, so it was in the city,
okay.
and that's why there was a lot of building collapses.
Was it Istanbul, the capital?
I'm not sure.
I'll check it out. But
Yeah.
that's crazy.
It is a pretty nuts one. When's the last time we had an earthquake out here in California?
A couple years ago. I mean, we've had minor ones. I mean, I remember. I think I've told you guys I've had a couple experiences in Humboldt with earthquakes because it's right along it has its own fault line.
Sure.
Like Humboldt is literally right. This random fault line goes and curves around Humboldt, and I remember one time I had experienced a earthquake that turned out to be like a 6.0. It was strong enough that it did property damage, but I was sitting in my barracks and I was looking at the room like so. And then all of a sudden, the entire room did this, and then it did this.
One way and then the other way.
What the fuck? It was like at evening time.
Holy shit.
A few seconds later, my fire buddy calls me up, Shane. He's like, bro,
Yo.
I'm at the river getting trashed right now with a bunch of the homies. You should go get some earthquake beers, which were like 10.0% beers.
So you said to go get beers?
So I had to go get earthquakes, and I ended up getting whiskey. So I got whiskey and earthquakes, and they're like, come watch these tremors on the river with us. So I went out, and we just got trashed.
So it's just a coincidence they were called earthquakes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, he told me, he's like, the earthquakes is happening. Get some earthquakes. And it just worked out. So I went and did it in whiskey, and we just got shit-faced. and at nighttime wrote out the tremors of the fucking earthquake. It was awesome.
Crazy.
And then a couple years later, when I was doing cabinet installs, there was this random earthquake when we were waiting with our truck and trailer for work, and there was a truck in front of us, and the guy immediately slammed his door and started yelling at us. He thought we had hit him, but because of the earthquake, it threw everyone off. So a bunch of people started getting in cars and yelling at each other because everyone thought that they had gotten into a car accident, but they hadn't.
No.
The earthquake had hit. And it was a super busy intersection.
Soupy busy intersection.
Fuck you, Will.
Trevor is talking
Title
so
of the
much.
episode.
Why are you rattling? Why are you
Fuck you,
rattling
Will.
off stuff?
Bro, it's pretty great how you guys both
Well,
get
I love
impatient with
Trevor
each
to
other on
death,
the
but
pod.
instead of telling a story with like meat and potatoes, he's like, "Well, I got some candy in my pocket. Here's a Tic Tac. Here's this thing, and I got butterscotches. And hold on, here's an old cigarette."
Would you
butt.
love me if I wasn't so zesty?
I'd still love you. But you just
Brady,
gotta
what do you
chill out
think?
on
I'm
your weird
sorry.
stories.
I'm sorry.
He goes, "Oh, there's one time, and this other time,
right.
and this next time, and this
I'm
fourth
done.
time.
I'm done.
This is
I'm
your
done.
eighth story in like the first 30 minutes. What the fuck?
Sorry.
All right, I'm going to the
Making
next
for good
one.
content.
I'm going to the next one.
Brady,
Babylon.
I hope you don't hate me.
Babylon the movie
I love you, man.
review. Let's do that.
Yes.
I'll be right back. I gotta take this thing out the oven.
Snakes get fought.
Snakes get
So-
fought.
Snakes get fought. So this is a great movie that Chris actually showed me last night. I guess Grady had heard of it, but I hadn't. And it's a 3-hour movie, came out last year. And Brad Pitt is probably one of the biggest names on it, but he plays an older actor. But there's other actors like Tobey Maguire was in it. And there was this British actress in there.
She's Australian.
Australian?
Margot Robbie.
Oh, okay.
She's the girl that plays
Wolf of Wall Street.
Harley Quinn. Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering because the way she did her Jersey
Tanya
accent,
Harding.
Tanya Harding. Yeah.
the way she did her.
play Tanya Harding. That was a funny
I
movie.
remember I made a Harley Quinn joke, and I didn't realize it was the same actress because the way
Yeah,
she was
it's Margot
doing the
Robbie.
Jersey thing, I was like, oh.
So
Wasn't-
the movie was really cool. It basically takes place in the early 1930s, 20s basically. And it begins with a guy trying to get an elephant up a hill to a party. You want to go into that one and tell him what happens?
So the very first seconds of the movie is literally a bunch of just dirty men just
With
in
a
these-
horse
in the
trailer.
steep mountains of a horse trailer, and then some like fruit trucks, and mind you, it's like 1927, so like just basic Ford
Model Ts, man.
like Model T, literally Model T Fords, and they're going up this super steep gradient, you could say. And yeah, they're trying to haul this literal like African bull elephant, which weighs probably 2 to 8 tons, and they're trying to haul up the steep gradient, and they end up the elephant gets scared, it snaps loose, the elephant shits and pisses on the guy.
That was the best one.
There we go. All right. Extra good.
All right,
I like
What
the
is wrong?
poking stick.
Yeah. But yeah, and then it just goes from there to a crazy party in a
So
castle,
the beginning of the movie is basically a dude getting shit on with an elephant.
going up a steep mountain that they
Yeah.
have no business being on.
So-
It kind of reminded me like Hannibal leading the troops of the elephants across the Alps when he invaded Rome, because they were leading elephants across steep mountains. But anyways,
His voice sounds so much richer though when he's talking about Rome right now, dude.
Rome.
Closer to the mic. So
I'm going to talk about just Hannibal
Just
and
say
elephants.
it, Rome.
Rome.
Roman.
Elephants. The Alps.
So the movie goes on to basically show the characters are 1920s silent movie stars. A couple of them are trying to get into the movie business. That's Margot Robbie and the Mexican dude's character. I forget his name.
Manny Torres is the
Well,
character
not
name.
the character, the actual actor.
I don't know.
But his name's Manny Torres. And what it goes into is the big change in Hollywood from the 1920s silent films to the 1930s talkies and like speaking pictures.
Talking films, yeah.
Because when they tried to incorporate audio into movies, it was a big change. It was a really big change because up until that point, they hadn't really had audio.
Yeah.
So it was people having to learn lines.
New technology.
It was
yeah.
people having to learn how to run audio equipment, pick up sound, have other things not interfere, working with cameras on the inside of buildings.
Yep.
Which is
Just
kinda
having,
big.
or yeah, just
They had to have the old cameras in dark rooms as they shot, because if they didn't, the film wouldn't develop.
yeah.
You know.
That was a crazy scene when they were first trying out the sound, and everyone's getting super agitated because it's such a new experimental technology. And after they get it perfectly filmed, they like mention the guy in the dark room, and he died because he got walked in there while it was so hot.
Yeah.
So he ended up dying.
Well, they kept throwing him back into the booth, telling him, "We're trying to get this scene. We're trying to get this shot." And he's like, "I'm gonna die in here." And he kept telling him, he's like, "I'm dying." And they're like, "Shut the fuck up! Get back in there."
They murdered him, but during it did. It also point out that work conditions just at a lot of places at that time
in
were
the 20s,
pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Like, even when they were just, one of the early scenes I loved when they were just shooting it, and it was still like 1927, they're shooting this film, and people were literally just mauling each other with just straight up swords. People are drinking whiskey, wandering around.
It was a scene where they were having like a King Arthur type battle.
Yeah, the absolute craziness. Like, there's, like, they hadn't really developed safety equipment yet for a lot of things, like doing stunts and whatnot.
Well, people forget, back in the day, there was no OSHA, there was no workplace safety things to really go over.
That was afterwards.
People died in a lot of different ways at work. You know, there's a lot of different ways to die as a human. We're not built to take a ton of damage, you know? Yeah. So a lot of people got impaled with things. You know, there was a scene where a guy had gotten impaled with a spear.
And what was the cause of death?
Yeah, they called him an alcoholic.
Yeah.
He was like, well, he had an alcohol problem. Maybe he ran into it.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it's a disease. You know?
And then they all get just fed this slop food.
Yeah, basically shit on a shingle.
Yeah.
There's a really crazy scene where snakes get fought. That's where the chant comes from. Margot Robbie's character is trying to get her father killed. He's been talking a bunch of shit all night, and he is one of these fathers that bleeds his daughter dry of her money, basically.
Brutal.
And definitely like Joe Jackson.
Britney Spears type
Britney
of
Spears
thing.
are like Joe Jackson with his kids.
So what ends up happening is his dad goes over to the snake all drunk, and he's trying to like fight it, and he passes out, and she gets pissed off, and she asks all the guys with her there, she's like, who's going to fight it? And then none of the guys wanted to fight the snake, and she called them all pussies, and she goes, well, then I'll fight the snake. And she grabs the snake up, and at first, nothing happens. She's just holding the snake. But then all of a sudden...
It's a rattlesnake.
She gets bit in the neck.
It's a Sonora Desert rattlesnake, yeah.
She gets bit right in the neck, and then starts running around, and everybody's like, ah! There's a snake biting this girl to death.
There's one chick that actually was the only one that apparently had common sense. She went and grabbed a knife. And then
so there's a really hot Asian girl that is a dancer from the 20s,
she's
and
awesome.
she's a lesbian, and she's into Margot Robbie's character.
Yeah.
And she was the only one to actually save her life. She goes over and she slices the snake's head off, and then she takes the head off and she sucks the venom out of her neck.
She does the cowboy shit that when I took paramedic and first aid training, they told us not to do unless you absolutely have to.
Unless it's a last resort, which it probably was, because if she didn't
They
try
were
it,
out in
that
the
girl was
desert.
dead.
It was the 20s, like
really great movie though. There's a lot of real cool cinematic shots, really good actors, and it basically goes into the story of how these people came from the 20s into the 30s. Tobey Maguire is in it. He plays a really interesting character. We won't give all the details, but a movie definitely worth checking out. Maybe 9 out of 10 reels of film.
I'd give it definitely 9 out of 10.
And in fact, if we could get a close-up
44
before
minutes.
the show goes any further, I would like to
we still
thank
got
our
gay
sponsors.
cigarettes. We got a bunch of cool shit.
You want to hop into gay cigarettes, Trevor? Go to our sponsor?
I don't know if I want to hop into gay cigarettes, but I'll.
So we're gonna bring up a clip.
I'll like wade myself in like a kid going into a pool for the first time. I'll like reluctantly
All right, well,
wade
put your
myself
water
in.
wings on. We're gonna go get some gay
I
cigarettes.
want my floaty
If
flamingo
you are a
and
smoker,
my
if you are not a
giant.
smoker,
You're a big boy now,
My
Trevor.
giant goggles of the
Because
ends
gay
is
cigarettes
way
is
out
the
loose.
greatest cigarette you could possibly smoke. Whether
I
you are
love
gay
this.
or straight or something in between or both, gay cigarettes
work.
will provide you with the cleanest lungs you have ever had. While they do tar your lungs up with nicotine and filth, at the same time, these cigarettes will give you pleasure like you've never felt. Orgasms have never been caused by smoking a cigarette until gay cigarettes was introduced to the market. Gay cigarettes, proud sponsors of Poolside Chats with Neil Hamburger. Ladies and gentlemen, gay cigarettes. Do buy a pack today of gay cigarettes. Thank you. This is a good product. You know, a lot of times when you have to promote a product because they are sponsoring your show, you do so sort of your tongue-in-cheek. You don't really believe in the product. But in this case, I believe 100%
Cigarettes.
in gay cigarettes. This is a great cigarette. I mean, I would smoke one right now if I could, because this is a great product. It is truly fantastic.
I feel like I need an adult in this situation.
This is a good product.
And smoke gay cigarettes.
Eric Wareheim.
What a wonderful product and what a wonderful.
Oh, from fucking Fly the Conchords?
Yeah,
It's from Tim and Eric. Tim and Eric also show.
Master of
Although I
None.
will not get on my knees.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, they got some stuff.
But I am begging
I'm going
you
to
smoke
urinate
gay
real quick.
cigarettes if you possibly can. All right, back to the show.
He just loves it. You guys smoke.
Start up again and smoke gay cigarettes. What a wonderful product and what a wonderful name for a cigarette. Gay cigarettes. Please, folks, I'm begging you on my knees, although I will not get on my knees on this show. It is degrading.
It is degrading, but I'm begging you, smoke gay cigarettes.
I've never seen that.
It is the best fucking commercial I've seen in forever, man. And I just love his enthusiasm for the product. You know, he's like, we only got one sponsor. We tried two, but it won't work. You know,
I got to see Neil Hamburger open for Tenacious D in 06.
wow,
Yeah, in Portland.
dude.
Oh, God, he bombed.
That
He
is
bombed.
still something I want to see so much. I have not gotten to see Tenacious D live.
Oh, man, I've gone 3 times.
Yeah?
Fucking cool. Yeah, I went in Brooklyn.
Kyle
For the
Gass
most
and
re-
fucking hot,
Oh,
dude.
I went in Bend. Yeah,
That sounds so
fucking-
awesome.
Love them fellas. For me, I want to meet him. There's a lot of cool acts I've been able to meet at some point. I've never met.
Definitely.
We've also got Rapid Assault Tactics.
Yes.
Yeah.
South Park
Let's
of
go
the
over the rapid assault tactics. This is something I came across the other day, and I just loved it.
I've seen this before, too. It's pretty wild.
This is real then.
Yeah, this is a real thing
Program
because
RAP, it actually
it's
stands for two
incorporating
separate
dirty
things. Number
fighting
one, I
into
like the
like
attributes
regular
of the RAP.
combat,
And number
but
two,
it's
it
all
is an
like
acronym
90s
for rapid
themed
assault tactics. We are getting
fighting
in,
styles.
We're ending the
They
altercation
talked
and
about
getting out in
how
a very surgical
apparently
and barbaric
this is
way.
used like for special forces, the military.
Yeah,
Like they,
Navy SEAls.
this is stuff that the Navy SEAls and like special operations in the U.S. military use. It's not stuff you'd want to use in
This program
MMA
RAT
fight.
actually stands for two separate things. Number one, I like the attributes of the RAT. And number two, it is an acronym for Rapid Assault Tactics. We're getting in, we're ending the altercation, and we're getting out in a very surgical and barbaric way.
All right, let's pause it right there for a
Yeah,
second.
Sure.
So this guy is just showing basically. I think it's on the lines of like movie style fighting. You know,
It's like some Steven Seagal shit almost.
it's definitely some
I'm waiting
Steven
for
Seagal type
Steven
of
Seagal
Aikido.
to like show up and do some crazy Aikido on us.
But the
Yeah.
Rapid Assault Tactics is basically a self-defense program that was inspired by the Navy SEALs and not fighting clean. So it's a bunch of dirty tactics like grabbing groin and fucking biting and
Throwing sand and dirt
throwing sand in
the
people's eyes.
One of my favorite techniques, sand in the eye. Ah.
Which again, I do love because I always think about this when I go into a fight because I've been in quite a few. I always go into it thinking like I'm gonna be honorable. You know, I'm gonna fight with honor.
To
The second it
survive.
starts
That
going
is the
south
number
or
one
it starts
thing.
getting bad,
A
I'm
lot of
like, all
martial
right, I'm
arts
doing
out
some
there
dirty shit.
use different tactics
That's
to
immediate.
duplicate
That's
the
Good
bro-
branding,
For
Rapid
example, the
Assault
tiger,
rather
the
than
lion,
just like
the
Yeah.
crane.
bitch
It's
boy.
about,
Yeah.
it's
I would
just
rather
about
use the rat
fighting in
myself.
the streets because
A rat is a
you know,
survivor.
It's
A
Shit
rat
gets
fighting
crazy
in
real quick.
places
Holocaust,
that
you can
aren't
drop them out of a
common for
two-story
people to fight in
building,
like a bar.
flush them down a
You know,
toilet.
it's street
Whatever the
brawl
rat
tactics
does,
kinda.
he's going
Yeah.
to survive.
So,
They're
let's
all
go
over
ahead
the
and-
world.
You're fighting in an
This is what
alleyway
we want to do. We
somewhere.
want to
Let's
be
go
a
ahead and continue to
survivor.
watch this.
Continue the video.
Hi, I'm Paul Vunak. What you're about to learn is called the RAT system. I developed this for the military. What this system teaches you to do is actually functionalize your technique, turns you into a street
I would
fighter.
rather use the
The process by which most martial artists learn and internalize their techniques takes 5 phases. Number 1, they learn the technique. Number 2, they practice new techniques.
I don't think I agree with that.
Finally,
You can
after
kill a rat a
practicing
lot of
for years
ways.
and years,
I've killed
master.
quite a few rats.
Yeah, rats are
Mastering
easy as
techniques
shit to
does
kill
not
if you got
mean
traps.
You know how to fight. It simply means that you know how to do the technique
I've
well.
stepped on a rat's
Now we
head.
come
This
to
is
the most
Paul
difficult part.
Vnuck.
Number 4, functionalizing the technique. That's what this tape is all about. That's what the interactive part is all about. We're developing the attributes that are the foundation in learning how to functionalize techniques. And then finally, we have number 5.
Seems like they got it off
maintain the
number one.
technique, meaning you got to get off your rear end, put down the bond
You gotta
buns, and
master
train once in a
technique.
while. So what we have is 5 phases: learn, practice, master, functionalize.
So years and years
We've
of
done all the
mastery, and
thinking
you
for
still don't know how to
taken
quite
out all the
fight.
guesswork. I've taken this enormous floodlight of information and condensed it into a laser beam.
Foundation and learning how to functionalize the techniques. And then finally, we have number 5, maintain the technique. Meaning you got
Of course, you got to maintain the technique. Don't sweat the technique.
So what we have is 5 phases.
This guy could be a hip hop artist, man. I would fucking listen to a song he put out.
We've done all the thinking for you. We've taken out all the guesswork. I've taken this enormous floodlight of information and condensed it into a laser beam.
Can I just for a second just say,
Yeah.
first of all, he's bragging about how he's taken something huge and condensed it down to a little thing. Instead, before he remember what he said, there's 5 steps to learning something, and the first step is learning it.
Yeah.
That was kind of like extrapolating far beyond. You know what I mean? He took
Definitely like, you should learn the techniques, but I'm going to give you a fast route. This is a shortcut.
So, well, if he had said something like first step is to observe, like that would make more sense. Like observe someone teaching you how to do it. And
Check out the bar fight one. I want to see that.
I've also seen the one with the older guy with the beard and he throws dirt in the guy's eyes immediately. It's the one I've seen.
I think that this was on the bonfire, actually. I think that Jay and Dan
Now for our
had
next
checked this
scenario,
video
Is
out.
this the same one
Two-on-one.
rat?
I
We're
don't
gonna
know.
have Trevor approaching the 2
But I
people.
think so.
Instead
It
of
could be.
splitting the people up,
I'm gonna put the
he's gonna
audio
hit
in
one
later.
guy
It'll
and
take
come back
longer,
and hit
but-
the other guy.
Awesome.
This is very
Yes!
common. Jumping right in the
Already
middle of the
excited.
fight. This is not what we want to do. Let's see how the results end up.
A bunch of guys way cooler than us. And
This gives
late
me the
80s
vibes. This
Sweet
gives,
80s music too, by the way.
well, this gives me the vibes of like Uncle
2-on-1
Rico from
fight.
Napoleon Dynamite.
Yes.
He's like, I bet you I could throw a football over them
Not too
mountains.
pretty.
Uncle Rico was probably in this video. He was probably involved in the fighting.
What
Do you
Trevor
remember
was wrong
the
was he
dude
hit the
that was
first guy,
teaching
he
Rex
came back and hit
Kwando?
the second guy.
This is
Was that
What I
guy.
do when you
Diedrich
fight
Bader's
2-on-1 is
character?
fight
Yeah,
one-on-one. Always
This is
split
definitely-
people
this is
up.
definitely Rex
So rule
Kwando.
number
Oh,
2,
yeah. That was
fight
fun.
one
Oh,
person
dude, it's about
at
to
a
go
time,
down.
2-on-1.
Why are they?
Break. What kind of weird fight is this? Where do they have gloves? Not too pretty.
Ends up happening when you're trying to fight 4 fists at one time. What Trevor did wrong was he hit the first guy.
What Trevor did wrong was he hit the first guy and he didn't hit the second guy.
One is fight one-on-one. Always split people up. So rule number 2, fight one person at
So
a time.
easy.
Now what you're going to see here is
Hey,
the same
all right.
scenario.
I like
Two
that
people come
rule.
at you, just
I'm gonna-
make
So
them hate each
2
other.
people come
I'm not
at
gonna
you, you
fight
fuck
2
one
people
up at a
once. I'm
time.
gonna get my first good
I like
shot
how
in.
they're
I'm
all
gonna do a
just
straight blast.
wearing boxing
Best
gloves
thing
in
about
the
a straight
bar.
blast is it splits people up.
Like in a
into
real
mass
fight,
attack.
they're not going to be wearing boxing gloves. They're going to be.
Look at this. What's up, bro? Hey, taste my leather.
They paid for like 5 seconds of filming, but they got it in like slow mo, so like roll it a bunch of times. Roll it slowly.
Now, what did I do?
Oh shit, here it
2 people at
goes.
once. I didn't stay
Here
in
it
the
goes,
middle,
the rapid
hit
assault
one person,
techniques.
and then come back and hit the other guy. By straight blasting Ron, that gave me
going
the
on with his right
latitude to
hand,
back
by the
up,
way?
get
He
my
fucked
hands
it up
up, and
practicing.
fight the next
Yeah,
bad guy.
no, of course. That's
Rule
why
number
I
2,
mentioned it.
fight
Why do
one
these dudes
person
have
Why are they
helmets
wearing
on?
helmets?
Oh, still more believable than Bird.
That's how he fucked his hand up. He was hitting fucking motorcycle helmets. You pushed a bunch of dudes on the floor.
Real quickly. Yeah.
Come back and hit the other guy.
No.
Blasting Ron, that gave me the latitude to back up, get my
I feel like this dude would have been stabbed really bad already.
Yeah.
Like somebody just busts out a knife while he's doing his weird jujitsu and he fucking gets messed up. He's like, hey, you got $1? Hey man, I don't have any
Slow-mo
fucking
again.
money. Get out of here. Hey, fuck you, bro. I don't know who you are.
Snakes get fought. Snakes
Now in
get
the
fought.
scenario,
Snakes
you got
get fought.
2-on-1. John's
He turns around, he's like, hey, black guy, how are you? Bop, 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 bop.
Turns
I don't-
around and tries to
This
fight
guy
back
is
people.
fucking
It's
stupid.
never worked.
Look at him
The
go.
reason he kept hitting the helmet.
Why did he have him put on helmets? He's gonna rough him up.
Dude, I feel,
Early in that pool
I
game.
feel like this is a guy that's jerked off the Roadhouse before.
Definitely. This
Do you
guy's
guys agree
life
he's
is
jerked off the Roadhouse?
This guy's life
in
is
like
Roadhouse.
early UFC fights of like Royce Gracie and Ken Shamrock, like the early days of UFC, he just jerked off to that shit. He's like, oh, I'm gonna fucking show them.
It doesn't stay stiff unless Roadhouse is on with this guy, dude. That's what it is.
He's got it always playing in the background as he's
has
fucking.
And when he's just whenever he poops, he just has.
Hey there,
UFC
bud.
fight.
How are
Same
you?
deal.
Hey,
2
fuck
on
you,
1.
bud.
I'll be in the middle.
I don't like
When
that
you fight
90s
2 on
sweater.
1, very, very difficult. I highly recommend an equalizer.
See what he did wrong there?
Ashtrays, bottles,
He started
headbutts,
bitching
they
out
all work.
immediately. He's like, hey, you like your wife getting fucked? Well, we're gonna fuck your wife just like we're gonna fuck you.
And then we're gonna fuck your dog afterwards in front of you. Ow!
See, the rat techniques aren't working because he's taking too many blows to the head, if you know what I mean.
Oh Jesus! And he has late fees for the library. What's this guy
Very,
doing?
very difficult. I highly recommend an equalizer.
We have to give much love to Paul Vunak.
Paul Vanak.
Honestly, you guys,
This is nuts.
Honestly, you guys, I think you could get him on. I think you could call him and have him join the pod.
He just comes
Like, you
over
know.
and he's like, we're willing to do examples.
What if we had the creator of just an entire martial art just come on the show?
We have Steven Seagal show up.
Steven Skull. We should, dude. Can you imagine if we got Steven Skull?
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
All of those guys. All those guys. That'd be awesome. All right. Is there? Are we doing on time?
56.
All right.
All right.
Let's move on a little bit.
We got to get a little thing to
Let
so
me
you
do my
can see
album
it.
review real quick. Album review. Album
Nice.
review. So this is actually something I just learned about this morning. And there it is. It's a band called Nothingness. And they're
You're talking past the mic, sorry.
There's a band called Nothingness. They're from Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Okay.
This is their second album. It came out January of this year.
2023.
Yeah. And the album is called Superliminal. That's the name of the album. The song I want to recommend is Catapulted into Hyperspace.
Catapulted into
And
hyperspace.
it's a death metal song. There's different genres of death metal. This is brutal death metal, which is just even faster death metal. So, like, imagine stuff like Cannibal Corpse, but on even more drugs. So it's
Trevor
super.
loves his metal, man.
So it's super fast and crushing. It's awesome, and they have cool artwork on there. And it's like 40 minutes of just getting hit with a hammer, kind of like the guy that broke into the Pelosi house and just fucking hit Paul, like, put on the hammer. Nope. Like, that's what that album is like. You're just getting hit in the head with a hammer. Dude, I got so many blades done that when I was listening to it, I was just zip, 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 zip. I was going 100 miles an hour, and it was a good album, and it crushed.
Trevor likes
check it
his
out.
metal, and if you like metal, he recommends this shit.
If you're trying to like listen to words and feelings, this is not the album for you. This is just for gutturals, like just throwing plates into a fucking dishwashing machine, into like a garbage disposal, and just having someone scream at you, and it's awesome.
I like his analogy of throwing dishes into a garbage disposal. I'm like, how does that work? He's like, well, you take the plates, you break them, right? And then you shove the shards down. But now what do you got? You got shardy hands.
A woman screams at you,
You
and
got
a cat,
shardy hands.
there's a cat just clawing at you at the same time. It's awesome.
All right.
So yeah.
So how many hard rocks would you give it out of a hard rock album?
So if we're doing hard rocks,
I'm talking Obsidian.
Ooh, I love Obsidian. By the way, if you're gonna ever try to like make stuff out of obsidian, nap it, wear safety glasses. It's sharp as fuck. It's used for surgical purposes still.
Good.
But
It was used for arrowheads.
Yep.
but it's also used in surgeries as well still.
All right, yeah.
Anyways, I would, if we're going obsidian rocks, hard rocks, I'd give it 9.8.
Okay. Almost a 10.
Almost 10. Like 10 is that? You know what? I'll give it 10. Fuck
Okay,
it.
first
I'll give
10.
it 10. First 10 I've ever given.
There
It
you
was
go.
awesome. I recommend
All right,
it.
that's dope. All right, Chris's Cannabis Corner. I got clones rocking right now. My clones are doing okay. I checked the roots the other day. They're coming in good. The next step is to get them out of the clone box and into some pots. So I'm going to have to go buy some soil soon and kind of get them ready for their next transition. But I don't know. I'm a little worried. Sometimes clones act funny once you transplant them. So I'm hoping that they take the transplant well, and once they do that, they'll be ready to rock and roll, man, and I'll just be in the next set. You know, I'm going to probably run 8 of them if I can. That's the goal, at least, to see. But I'm happy for all of them right now. I got, 20 to pick out of, and I'll pick the best 8 I can. And we'll fucking see what happens in 2 to 3 months. Real quick, we got to talk about...
No, man. I just made the graphic.
Oh,
it's an
no.
amazing graphic, dude. Don't go on.
Oh, no.
Don't proceed. We got to...
Hold on, folks.
It's
The
perfect.
graphic is here.
It's ready.
Chris's Cannabis Corner.
It's like
See,
cut off.
check it out.
By the way, might I just add that the weed, by the way, is very good.
Yeah.
I got to help a little bit out with it, but it's very good. And it was actually cool to... I'll jump in for a minute. It was actually cool to get to help out, just cut the mother plant, cut it, and then do the planting. And something I actually learned about was I'd never done the lava rock thing before to get it in root. And I've worked on legal and illegal pot farms in like Humboldt County and Sacramento, other places. But it was cool to see again like how you poke a hole in there with some scissors, you put it in there, and then there is the nutrient mix you put in there.
Sure.
And it was actually a pretty cool thing to help out with. So I'm curious because the rock is like igneous lava rock, so it's very porous.
It's called fucking rock wool.
But it's a volcanic. It's based off volcanic rock. So
Yeah.
It will be cool to see like the root system go through all the pores.
So
It's something
with,
I'm excited to
with
see.
the roots, you probably won't see them go through the rock wool because I won't let them
Damn
go
it.
that long. But what will end up happening is when they get transplanted into the plant, they'll eventually break through the rock wall and go into the soil.
That's pretty cool.
So once we get done, there'll be a nice big root ball from where it started. Yeah. And the root
Making
balls are...
flames now.
And the root balls are another thing that's tough
Your
to...
energy. I like your energy. Snakes get fought.
Snakes get fought. Snakes get fought.
I like it.
Well, the root balls are kind of another issue in their own. I really would love to be able to find more of a use for them. Like if there was a way to break them back down and put them back into the soil. Roots are good nutrients, but they take up a lot of space once they're done growing the cannabis plant. I got a bunch of pots sitting in the room right now I need to get rid of the soil from. But another project for another day.
Well, it would be good to help you out with it. That was cool.
Hell yeah. All right, Gradient, would you do me a favor and bring up Madonna's face?
Oh, shit.
We're getting wild in this house.
So Madonna had some
The thing
plastic
is,
surgery done here
would it be
recently.
doing you a favor?
It wouldn't be doing me a favor at all, right?
So Madonna in the 80s. We should do a side-by-side comparison. So Madonna in the 80s was not too bad, not too shabby. She was definitely of the time, cute young girl.
Definitely doing like kind of like she's lightly flirting with a punk rock image.
Yes.
Because at the 80s, punk rock fashion was at a height.
pretty girl, you know what I mean?
She was a pretty girl, like
Pretty girl.
flirting with the punk rock sort of East Coast / punk rock image with like a lot of makeup, wearing leather.
So
just wearing
Madonna
crazy
Madonna
stuff.
from the 80s up through the early 2000s was still hot and fuckable. She hadn't had that much plastic surgery.
But
Now, she was at the Grammys
older.
or something recently, and her face, she's 64 or something, man, and her face looks younger than it did, 10 years ago. So she's had a nose job. She's had probably fucking, a cheek lift. She looks like she's fucking 30. So, and this is all her kids. Yeah, but dude, her face is just crazy now. She looks like she had that same mishap.
08. It looks like a natural aging woman.
Yeah, and then she does this weird jump where, she looks like little Kim now. She has the really crazy high cat face.
I was seeing these weird TikToks that she was leaning towards the camera and going,
Yeah.
and it was like think of this creepy song, and everyone was like, "What's going on with her?"
Can you also look up Little Kim's face? Because Little Kim has the same type of shit that's going on, the cat face type thing. Because I think it's a botched job. Yeah. See, like these pictures. Little Kim
what the
looks so different now, dude. Her cheeks are super high.
I'm sorry, it's not getting a lot bigger.
No, you're fine.
You know.
But just look at the way that the fucking facial changes. Like, they're doing so much plastic surgery to just try to remain something, man.
That's sad.
That is little Kim when her titty was out. Hot as fuck. This is her today. God damn it.
That's sad.
Yeah, but you know, it's like you can sympathize, right? With like, I don't know.
That's a tough one,
They're so
man.
judged by their. It's very hard for them to grow up and see themselves growing up.
But if you're
as
a
women.
woman and you realize, obviously, that your days of looking
You're mortal.
presentable,
You're mortal.
You know,
I mean,
time's gonna get you.
It gets everybody.
You have to age gracefully. I think that's what people respect a lot more than whatever this becomes. You know what I mean? Nice boobs. But yeah, whatever this becomes, man, because she just doesn't look like a human anymore. She looks like alienish.
Anything else you want to look up to disparage some more strangers?
Hey, she's a nice lady, man. I'd have her over for the podcast, but just to be like, little Kim, what happened? I bet she doesn't talk to a lot of people about the surgeries and stuff.
Not likely.
No. It's probably a touchy subject.
I would definitely ask her questions about Dutch oven cooking. It'd be good.
I watched a real quick before we wrap up. I watched a documentary called The Oxycontin Express. It took place in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. It's where I grew up, pretty much. It's in Broward County, and it was a documentary about how OxyContin flooded in through most of the country, 85% of the country from South Florida. So there are these small pop-up medical shops that are pain management clinics, and you can basically go in there with a doctor's recommendation. It doesn't even have to be real official paperwork, and just say, I need OxyContin, you know. And they had, this was from 2004, probably earlier than that, 2004 to about 2009. This was a real big problem down there because the history of South Florida, at least from when I've been there and my parents have been there, in the 80s, cocaine was ridiculous. In the 90s, crack was ridiculous. In the 2000s, pills, prescription medication started becoming ridiculous. And South Florida is one of the easiest spots to get drugs kind of funneled and shipped and moved because of all the waterways and all the fucking land. The laws are lax down there with specific things. But what ended up happening was they did a documentary on a family who had lost people to OxyContin overdose. The brother had lost, the main character is this one young man who had lost his brother and his wife both to OxyContin overdose. And his mother was dealing with him in the grips of addiction too, because the way he was making his money was hustling pills, you know, which I knew a ton of people that did that when I worked, when I lived down there and sold and stuff like that. I never got into prescription pills. I sold a lot of ecstasy and cocaine, some Xanax bars, so that was a little bit of the prescription pills that I'd sell. But it was a different game with the prescriptions because you can make a ton of money, but it put a big target on your back, you know, whereas with some of the other drugs, you know, I know that if you got caught with ecstasy down there, it was a count of manslaughter for a lot of years. Man. I don't think that's the case anymore.
Like, without anyone dying?
Without anybody dying. It was a case of manslaughter. There was a kid that had the exact same birthday as me that went to a different school that was a friend of a friend with the same name as me, Chris Evans. And he got life pretty much for having a bag of 200 pills. He got a count of manslaughter for each one, and a count of manslaughter in Florida is 1 to 5 years.
In the land of the free.
Yeah, so
That's
200
incredible.
years at minimum.
So he's still in there, probably.
Oh, yeah, he's doing life for
Just
pills.
out of curiosity, is he a white guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was curious.
It was crazy because I sold drugs down there, but I always felt terrible about the prescription drugs because it was such a problem down there. And getting to see this documentary, it really kind of just reinforced what I already knew about how doctors handle prescription pads.
They're
and
just
how
they're just
people-
legalized drug dealers. It's crazy
Pretty
how a
much.
guy
Well,
like your
and
friend.
they're funded by the government and a lot of insurance companies. A lot of insurance companies and prescription companies pay these doctors to push pills.
Yes. So what
specific
your friend
medications.
doing is just he doesn't have the degree, he doesn't have the accolades, but he's really not that much worse than a doctor who prescribes drugs that may have good intentions, but they're pushing it too hard. Just like the expression I love, like every road to hell was paved with good intentions.
So the chemical makeup of OxyContin is almost identical to heroin. It's literally
it's like a molecule off, right?
It's
super close.
It's a really close chemical makeup. And OxyContin was basically made as a super hard pain management thing for people with like cancer. But it became regular pain medication for a lot of people.
My back hurts. Let me take it.
And I knew a lot of people that made a living off of selling fucking Oxys and Roxys and shit because it was just the thing to sell. But when they show you the quantity that these kids are able to get from some of these pain clinics, it's ridiculous. I'm saying like 500 pills a month. Like stupid amounts of pills. But they kind of know what's going on to a degree. They know that they're selling them. They know that they're exchanging them for other pills. So why wouldn't you stop that at some degree? I guess the money is too much of an incentive, because these doctors get paid. They get paid for certain things, especially writing prescriptions. The OxyContin people even made a settlement a few years ago with a lot of the victims of their fatalities and drug-related charges and stuff like that. But the amount of money they made was in the billions. Wow. And the amount that they paid out for the lawsuits was in the low billions. So during the height of it, they made maybe around $100 billion. I think they ended up paying out in lawsuits maybe $4. So $96 billion of profit. I just think that we've lost, we treat human life like a commodity at this point instead of a gift.
You could solve so many problems with $96 billion.
Yeah, but it's more profitable for them to rape and pillage the fucking poor people.
Yeah.
And that's where I hate the politics that go on in Florida because that state is so fucked up. And
Rick Santos,
the drugs,
Jeb Bush, back
the drugs make it easy to buy the politicians. And once you bought the politicians, you don't have to worry as much about your drugs. So yeah, it becomes a thing, and I've just seen it since I was a kid, And so having faith in your government that they're doing their job and they're stopping the bad guy. The war on drugs has been lost for a long time.
The State of the Union was definitely a theater show.
And it makes you feel like you're a little bit left out. But if you're listening to this podcast right now, just know you're part of the resistance. You know it. Yeah. When the Terminators come up, we're going to be there with John Connor ready to fuck some people up.
We're going to be playing Vuvuzuelas and just randomly dropping bombs.
Hell
Might be some
we're going to be dropping bombs over Baghdad, baby.
Nice Outcast reference.
All right. Nice. You ready to wrap this one, brother? This has been an awesome episode. Everybody go check out the Two Lonely Boys in a Canoe podcast. We are on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, Podbean, a few other platforms. But definitely go check us out. We've got some really good episodes uploaded recently with the help of Gradient. We've got some really good episodes that we recorded without him here. But those are our older ones, and they might be worth a listen to.
I got one last thing to say.
Yes.
Snakes get fought.
Snakes get fought. Snakes get fought. All right. Let's play this out, Trevor.
I endorse nothing on this. I might want to say at the end of every episode, I endorse nothing here.
Yeah, Gradient's here against his will. We locked
it's actually the best job I ever had.
We locked this motherfucker up, man. We keep him in a basement.
You know what? Cool guy shades on, boys.
Do it, man. You got this. And I'll do dinosaur fights.
You should use that for musical purposes.
Hell yeah. Good job, Trevor.
I just played that cable like a slide. What's good?
What's good with it? All right, folks. We'll get at you next time. And just remember, snakes get fought.
Snakes get fought.
Peace.